Hi, welcome back to economics, and we are in this chapter, employment, labor, inflation, and poverty. So, in this chapter, we are going to deal with the major concerns of macroeconomics, and these are the aggregate problems like inflation and unemployment and these are what governments basically needs to address because it's very rampant. So through the analysis of these problems, a society can meet its economic goals of stability, full employment, and economic growth. Okay, so um, we are going to discuss here the labor and labor problems. So, the labor and labor problems will be the unemployment and underemployment. So, these two, they actually weigh down the Philippine economy. Uh, we will see so many lockouts, we will see strikes whenever there are issues on salary increases, unjust termination of employees, union members claiming benefits, and many other issues. So makita, especially in metro cities or mega cities, no, there are so many strikes, lockouts when there are conflicts between employers and employees. So we need to know the labor situation in the Philippines because labor is one of the economic resources that we have been discussing since chapter one, di ba? Labor is one of the um, economic resources. And it also concerns not only the term of full employment, but also other factors like income, wage, and productivity. It also is inherent for labor to have problems because it is, after all, about people and what concerns them. So there's always going to be conflict because we have different interests. So the employers and the employees' interests normally um, are in constant conflict. So labor force, so if we are going to define what is labor force refers to the available human resources, um, whether employed or unemployed, and these are including those who are at least 15 years old. Um, as long as you are willing and able to work. When a part of this labor force is unemployed, it means there are persons who are willing to engage in productive activities or are willing to work, but they fail to do so, no, because they are not employed at least for the past 4 weeks. So if you don't have work, if you are able and willing to work within the past 4 weeks or 1 month, you are now counted as unemployed. So it should be noted that in every economy, bisan asa man, bisan sa US, bisan ang mga first world countries, there will always be some form of unemployment. Pero ang severity or ang unsa kalala ang unemployment of the condition depends, and it needs to be emphasized because it depending man na kung unsa kalala ang unemployment depende sa economic stability. So there are types of unemployment. Unemployment can be frictional uh, unemployment. When we say frictional unemployment, it refers to a situation in which a person who is in between jobs or who is currently applying for a job and is waiting for a would-be employer to hire him or her. So for example, ani, if you experience kanang mag-end bitaw imong contract, let's say for example, mag-end imong contract May 31, 2021, and you are already hired in another company but waiting for deployment. You are already hired, but you will not be deployed until, let's say, for example, August of 2021. So, mag-end mo contract by May and you will be uh, you will be starting your new job in August. So there is a gap. No, then you will experience frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment nimo is from April to August because by that time mag-end man imong contract by May 31, and then after that you are unemployed and waiting for you to start another job in August. So that is what we call frictional unemployment. Another type of unemployment is the seasonal unemployment. What is seasonal unemployment? It is characterized by being out of work because of changing seasons. Let's say, for example, from rainy season to dry season. It is usually experienced by the agricultural laborers or workers during off season where they are just waiting for the harvest or planting season to come, 'di ba? For farmers, let's say for example, rice farmer ka, you planted and then after you plant, then you will just waiting for the harvest season. So that's what we call seasonal unemployment. Or ka na pong mga, let's say for example, na-hire ka as sales representative during Christmas season. After that, wala na dayon kay work because off-season naman siya. So this waiting time, kanang waiting time for the next season to start is considered seasonal unemployment if you as a worker would would choose to wait for the moment where you will be considered productive. Uh, but if you choose to while waiting, work for another mangita kag lain trabaho while waiting for the season to start, then you will not be considered as unemployed. And then another one is the cyclical unemployment. Cyclical employment kasi it's an unemployment that was caused by business cycles. So there's actually business cycles. There's an expansion and recession. So when it expanded, your service is needed, but when the business is not doing good, you might be laid off because kanang magbawas sa taog-tao mga na. So that's cyclical unemployment. Another one is the structural unemployment. This unemployment is due to lack of skills that is valued by the labor market. So for example, ang skill nimo dili na siya needed or either because the demand has shifted or they never learn the skills. So kung wala nimo na learn. Actually, there are several in other articles and other books, they have cited eight types of unemployment, but these are the main unemployment. They also have cited like technological unemployment, but that is actually can be covered by structural because meaning we are already in the industry 4.0 wherein nagsugod na og gamit og robots, no, automated na ang uban. So when that comes, you will be unemployed because of the new technology, and you do not, or there is a new technology but you are not trained for that and you did not learn the skill to use that, so you will be unemployed, right? So those are the types or the major types of unemployment. Now let's go to underemployment. So when we say underemployment, you as a worker is employed, no, you have a work, but the job that you are doing requires the skills or expertise that are below your expertise or your level. So if you can see in the picture, waiter ang babae and but she has no, I have a PhD in economics. So, imagine she has a PhD in economics but nagwaiter siya, right? Na yung mga teacher nga nasa Jollibee nagtrabaho. Yan na. So, they are unemployed. They are not able to use their potential, what they have learned, what they earned what degree they earned in college are not being used in their job. So, that is what we call underemployed. Although you will not be part of the unemployed people, but you are underemployed. Okay, so I hope that is clear. And let's go to inflation. So inflation, this is what we always hear, di ba? When we listen to business news, when we read business papers. So inflation actually is the increase of the price of goods and services for a period of time. This is where you are going to feel that ang value sa imong money gamay compared sa presyo of products and services. So there are two types of inflation. Cost push inflation. It comes from a continuous increase in the cost of production, like the escalating price of oil in the world market. Nganong mang tanan man maapektuhan sa pag-increase sa price sa oil sa world market? It's because um, ang pag-produce na to ng product, ang pag-produce along the way in producing the product, we always need the oil, no? Transportation, pag sa pa na siya, pag-operate sa mga machines, etc. So maka-affect gid siya. So meaning there is a because of the increase of a particular product that is needed in most productions, mo nang naay inflation. Mo nang ni-increase ang presyo sa asukal because ni-increase ang presyo sa gasolina sa world market. Ni-increase ang kape, etc. So almost all products increase because of a certain increase in a part of the or essential part of the production. The second type of inflation is the demand pull inflation. It comes from an excess demand of goods and services. So, diba, if you will remember our demand, the law of supply and demand, if there is an increase in demand, no, um, there will also be, or if the price is high in the law of demand, the demand decreases. However, there are times that the demand is high even if the price is high. Okay, so that is going to cause a demand pull inflation. So there is an excess demand of that particular product, right? So I hope that is clear. Poverty. So let's talk about poverty. Poverty is this is the condition or state in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. Poverty means that the income level from employment is so low that basic human needs cannot be met. Okay, so let's say for example, the like in Metro Manila, they already have set the minimum living standard, let's say around 600 pesos. However, there are many um, workers or many families that are earning below the 600 pesos nga minimum, I mean standard living condition. So mo nang mabilong sila sa um, poverty line because they are not able to earn what is supposed they are supposed to earn. Okay, so um, mo na siya poverty. And we have a consumer price index. Ang consumer price index, nag-measure ni siya. It's a measure that examines the weighted average of prices of a basket of consumer goods and services such as transportation, food, and medical care. It is calculated by taking price changes for each item in the predetermined basket of goods and averaging them. So, pag may price index, let's say for example, um, sa sardines, 'di ba? Usahay mag-set man ang DTI og price ana niya, or all commodities, nagaset ang government og price ana niya. So that is what we call consumer price index. And with the consumer price index, we will be able to compute the inflation. Unsay unsay in rate sa pagtaas sa presyo for a particular product using this formula. So the inflation rate is equals to um, CPI of year 2 minus CPI of year 1 over CPI of year 1 times 100. So let's try to solve one. Let's say for example year 2004 and 2005. So this is the year. You can see on the left side is the year, the CPI on the right side. So if we are going to see the inflation rate from 2004 to 2005, we just have to use this formula. So the CPI of 2005 is 9.0. CPI of 2004 is 8.2. We divide that by 8.2 and we multiply by 100, and that is 9.76. So therefore, 9.76, or meaning the inflation rate from the from year from this example simply means that anything that we bought, gipalit nato in 2005, has increased its average price by 9.76% from 2004, right? So um, most of us will say inflation is actually negative, no? Inflation is not good, but there are other sectors in the society that um, says that inflation is good. Okay, so just to be clear, inflation is normal. I mean, walay country nga walay inflation. Okay, kung walay inflation, murag di na ta mag-move forward. Mawad-an nag-interest ang mga sellers to produce products because they are not gaining from it. Murag wala na improvement. So there's always an inflation, and no one is exempted. Bisan ang mga first world countries na as na inflation. It's just that there is just high inflation and low inflation. Actually, we will be able to discuss in other chapter what they call superinflation, hyperinflation, mga na siya. So we just have to remember this is if the inflation is so high, it may not be favorable to the economy, but there are also other sectors that favors this. Like, let's say for example, you bought a property for an investment and sell it after say 10 years. So nipalit kag balay karon and you are going to sell it in 10 years. If there is no inflation, wala kay gain, no, because mag-stagnant ang price niya. But due to inflation, once you sell it after 10 years, uh, you have the price of the property that you bought will be higher, no, after 10 years because of the inflation. So inflation is inevitable, right? So I hope that that is clear, and if you have any questions, you know what to do.